Welcome all to the Triplefour podcast. First things first, there's a legitimate sponsor for today's episode, an actual official sponsorship for the Triplefour podcast. Look, we do a lot of bits. We do a lot of ironic bits about podcast sponsors, but there's an actual one now, and that means that it's imperative that you listen to the show, that you take part in streaming, watching, listening to the Triplefour podcast, because Anchor FM, the distributor and the host of the Triplefour podcast online, the folks responsible for letting us push this essential content out to the world, are sponsoring us. That's Anchor FM, and they make it real easy for you to make your own podcast. This is a fact. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Anchor FM, they have an app. You can make your own podcast as easy as hitting a button. You can just record right into the app. And we all know you got lots of great ideas for podcasts. You want to do maybe you're good friends with Christopher Walken. You want to do the Christopher Talkin' podcast, where Christopher Walken talks, and then he goes for walks afterwards, and you record that also. So maybe that's your podcast idea, and you can get it out to the world with Anchor FM, ladies and gentlemen. And they're our sponsor for the Triplefour podcast.
Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said this dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norton.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. It's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you?
We really did.
We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
you just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
Sup, Triplefour heads, four heads, whatever you're called, triplets. Sup, triplets. You are listening to the Triplefour podcast with a new microphone audio setup. And you heard those noises in fantastic hi-fi. But here's the thing. It's 2020.
It is.
This is the first episode being recorded in 2020.
Sorry.
We have the classic cast, the three core hosts of the Triplefour podcast, and I want to hear Nick do his signature introduction right now.
Nick Wonders, yeah.
And I want to hear Josh try and top it.
It's me, Josh Dolphin.
It's great to see you, Josh.
Hopeful, as always.
I was taking a little vacation from this podcast.
Yeah, he's not been on the past few episodes, and as such, we need an update.
Living large.
Yeah, that's what it's going to say on your tombstone.
Yeah, living large.
Lived large, died small.
Didn't know what he really did, but he obviously lived large.
So as I said, the first episode recorded in 2020, and there was a holiday somewhere in the middle between this cast and the last episode, and it was called New Year's Eve.
New York's Eve?
New York's Eve, and
when are they changing it to that, to be honest? Come on.
that's where the most fun stuff happens.
Yeah, obviously.
When are they going to drop the ball?
They really dropped the ball on the last New Year's Eve.
As soon as I saw people in diapers in the crowd, I knew they dropped the ball.
And as the past 3 or 4 years, I was spent New Year's Eve exactly where I wanted to be, in a restaurant, serving people.
Hell yeah.
And
I did see you.
Josh did see me briefly.
Yeah, I did go to the casino with some family members, and I saw you in all your glory, depressed.
Awesome. Nick also works in a restaurant.
In a casino. And it's fucking busy. Really fucking busy.
Were you also depressed?
I was also... No.
Okay.
No,
When
I
did you
wouldn't
guys
classify
close?
it as depression.
Okay.
Is that you talking to a therapist?
It's-
Look, I wouldn't classify it.
Call it what you want, doctor, but this is what I think.
Listen here.
Here are my notes.
When did
Yeah,
you
no,
close?
we do 600 people in 4.5 hours.
That's wow. Okay, that is,
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is.
that's a lot.
It is a fucking madhouse. Every single year, it's always nuts. Although I will say this is one of the, other than the computers fucking up and the table numbers being wrong, because we had extra tables where they set it up to where everything was a 2-top. There were like three tables would be rung on the same thing, but there was no distinction between the table. Dude, the first round was so fucked up because we did 4 seatings where it's 150 people each seating. The first one was just, it was a fucking nightmare. We figured it out after that, but I think we I probably got out at like 10:30. The last seating, it was at 9, so
We were supposed to close at 11, and by the kitchen was just exodiad the whole night, just obliterated.
yeah.
Exodia.
Exodiad.
How was Dusty, the former guest on the show?
Dusty, former guest of the Triplefour podcast, was there. He was working his hardest, doing his best. Look, we had full menu.
That sounds
regular,
fucking awful.
regular seating, and there was only like one really harsh moment where I was like triple sat at the same moment where I was like trying to deal with some really complicated payment method for one table where they were like, hey, we have a gift card, but then we have 2 different credit cards after that you'd like to split it between. And I was like trying to get one of the other servers to help me, because really that's like the hardest, still the hardest part of the job for me at this point is like handling payment in like really complex ways, because the actual like operating system of the computer is very non-intuitive. Like it's not just like a button that says credit card, it's a button that says CC auth. And then it's like you go, and then there's like, if you want to do like a room charge, you go into pre-auth, and then you go in there and it says room charge. But then there's another one that says group room charge, and it's just like there's a whole, it's awful. But so yeah, payment method stuff is kind of confusing, and it's like there was one particular table that I got stuck on, and then at that exact moment I was sat like 3 different times, and then by that point you get in like a little bit behind, and then there's one table that wants refills, and then the other, and it's like, it only takes one little knot to just throw you off, and then you get sat a bunch of times, and I'm walking by these people going, look, I'm sorry, it's going to be a minute. That's like all I can do.
Happened the last 2 New Year's for me. It did happen, like the first fucking thing I took to a table this New Year's, we do limited menu.
Yeah.
And you can pick between 2 types of salads, 2 types of appetizers, 2 types of entrees, 2 desserts.
Yeah.
Those are your choices.
That was how it was when I was there.
So one of our entrees was a surf and turf. It's a fillet with lobster and what I want to say was like risotto or something. But we send them out house medium is the standard unless somebody requests a specific temperature. Mm-hmm. But this woman had a mid well, and I brought it to the table, and both of them had medium picks in them. And she goes, is that the medium well? This is the first fucking table I go to. Like, we just had 150 people sit down, and the first table I go to, she goes, is that the medium well? I said, no, they're both medium. Yes. She goes, I ordered medium well. And having done this for a couple of years, I know how to... I just went back to the kitchen, I went to the dude on grill, and I was like, dude, put a mid-well pick in this.
Yeah.
And then took it back, and of course she didn't know the difference, because... those are the people that we wait on.
Oh, yeah. But then after that, after getting off work, I made good money in my perspective, and then I asked the other servers I worked with, and they made a lot more money than I did, and that was upsetting. And I was like, what did I do wrong? So there was a little bit of an existential crisis after work, and then I got over it. What about you?
I made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
Both.
Do you have auto gratuity?
I worked. Yeah, we don't always auto grat. Not on New Year's. Well, here's the thing about what we
think when I worked there, I think they did do auto gratuity when it was big tables.
Well, that's the thing. Is this year it was all 2 tops except for one table that was a round top, and then Lasorda or the private room for overflow, but It's all paid for. These are all casino people.
Yeah.
This is all paid for by the casino, so it's already set up. $75 a head. Four courses? Yeah. 75 a head, and then you just, I think, grat everything at the end of the night.
See, there were, it seems like, because there were other restaurants in our casino that were doing that, where they were like, this is for the high rollers, the top players, the most rewards points people. Mm-hmm. We were the one that was doing whoever showed up. So, really, I thought that was going to be like, oh, we're going to get the riff-raff, extra people.
People playing the penny slots.
Riff-raff is going to come in here tonight.
Yeah, riff-raff, the rapper, is going to come sit down. He's going to say, give me the gumbo.
And you have to oblige.
And you have to. But no, actually, it was more like all of the people who only go out to dinner 3 times a year. That's what it felt like. All the people I was waiting on.
Okay.
And so they were like trying to ask all these questions.
Yeah,
and they were like,
"What's going on?
Can I get a sample of the soup?" And then like stuff like that. And then like,
no.
I really should have said no, but it's like there are a few times where it's like they're being really polite and nice, and I feel bad for saying no, because realistically, on any other night I would do it.
Right.
And I was just like...
That's really shitty that you guys do full menu, because that's such a headache for all parties involved.
We also have probably like 60% amount of tables that you guys do.
Yeah.
We only have like 20-something tables.
Okay.
And a full section when we have 4 servers, which is the most we ever have, is 4. And a full section is usually 5 tables. And there are 2 sections that have 6, but the 6th one are like the weird tables nobody ever gets sat at. So,
right.
Those the weird tables over there.
Yeah, I think we had like 9 or 10 servers on New Year's.
Yeah.
But it's a new year.
It's a whole new year now. And now everybody in the world will be nice and tip well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's looking like a good year. Yeah, the beginning of my 2020 is basically just not like your guys's. It was with family the whole time, because my family visited from California for about a week, a little over a week. So, I mean, it was just kind of bouncing around with them and just kind of recollecting everything, like what we were doing this whole week, because that was at the end of their stay when New Year's came. So, yeah, mine's really normal comparative to you guys. Mine's literally boring in comparison, but I don't know. It's a whole new year, so I want to see what comes out.
Hindsight is 20/20, as they say.
Hey guys, it's 2020.
Yeah, my vision doctor didn't tell me that to me.
You know what that means? We should start smoking weed again.
Oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
I saw my friend Andy posted a tweet, and it said, "You don't realize there are going to be 13 420s in 2020, because there's every month the 4th day of the month is a 420, and then you have 420 April 20th of this can be 4/20/20.
Yeah, 4/20/20.
People are gonna go insane on that day.
There's gonna be deaths.
Yeah, probably. It's gonna be like Area 51 raid, but instead it's gonna be to the dispensaries.
You want to talk about what happened where you were when the new year was rang in? We briefly talked about it.
Oh yeah, we were talking
earlier.
Yeah, a lot of gunshots. Classic. Keep it classy, St. Louis.
We call that a St. Louis New Year's.
Well, it's a St. Louis tradition, firework or gunshot, but there was no distinction this year. It was all gunshots.
Just all gunshots.
Wow, all right.
Like very, very nearby. Very nearby.
Oh,
I'm talking like
even better.
Like 1 yard over nearby.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I thought it was gonna be like it's not that in the distance, but it's enough to where.
No,
you're like,
they were in the
visible.
distance too, but they were also
it's in the distance.
in the
symphony.
immediate area.
A symphony of guns.
Someone bought an orchestra, but it's just with people with guns.
It was like Mad City by Kendrick. It was like
yacht.
I don't like boats. I like yachts.
Classic
anyway,
Kendrick line. I mean, I also did see a article that said that St. Louis had more killings on New Year's Day than Chicago.
Oh yeah, everybody was talking about that because there was like the drive-bys and stuff.
Well, it's like also
on 270. You hear about this?
No, I didn't know that. But I just saw the articles. I'm like, are we surprised that St. Louis had more murders than Chicago? We're the murder capital.
No.
It's like, look, everybody made the same New Year's resolution: no murders,
That's-
no
yeah.
murders.
no
Josh.
murders,
No more murders.
and then day one
Already started.
already broke it.
Well, this brings me to a nice little segue. Will you be my neighbor?
Depends on how much the house costs.
Oh.
I'm going to go ahead and say no because you bring gunshots to the table.
Well, this wasn't at my house. This
No.
was somebody else's house I was at. Although,
Anyway, Tom Hanks, go ahead.
no, not the Tom Hanks.
I'm just saying the correlation
Oh,
between...
the
The
documentary.
actual documentary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wasn't the movie also named? What was the name of the movie?
I thought that was the name of the movie.
Is it? Because that would be... I
the
mean...
movie is
Hold on.
The Mr. Rogers Experience.
the
Google-
Mr. Rogers Romp.
It's Mr. Rogers dancing.
Google, who is Tom Hanks? Have you seen the documentary?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
As
shoot.
I've said in the past, maybe not on the podcast, but definitely to other people, I didn't grow up with Mr. Rogers. I don't have any real basis in his thing. Like I know that he had a nice little show where
Yeah.
he talked about being nice and.
I don't know. I think it's something I had to watch more of as a kid. Like, I'll watch a little bit of it now, but...
The documentary is called "Won't You Be My Neighbor?" Not "Will You Be?" Won't You Be
What's
My
the movie
Neighbor?
called?
The movie is called "A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood."
Okay,
Oh
all
my
right, well.
God.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
all
but-
wrong.
It doesn't matter if you didn't. I did grow up with Mr. Rogers on the later end of his run, but it is a heart-touching documentary. Even if you didn't grow up with that, the man's life is incredible.
Was it made up? Was it true that he was he a nom? Or was that a made
I think
up?
it's a
I'm
myth.
pretty sure that's a rumor. That's
Yeah,
a
I think
rumor.
it's a-
Yeah,
I
he
think it's
never.
a
He was
myth.
not in the military.
Okay.
He's an ordained minister.
Huh. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
He also is known for firing off weapons into the air in New Year's Eve
News,
celebrations.
That's
Yeah.
when he asks people, "Won't you be my neighbor?"
Yeah.
He has a gun in hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you say no, who knows what might happen?
He
I
says
have 3.357.
On a scale of 1 to 3, how many 357s does Mr. Rogers have?
3.
Do you think he
Shit.
feels like Clint Eastwood?
That's not a
Not if he has 357s.
357s.
He has 357
57.
calibers.
Jesus.
All right, anyway, talk about the movie.
It's just wild the way that this man broke into television. Like he changed the game, because that was kind of his whole. Like I said, he was an ordained minister, and he really just wanted to do good for children through TV. He saw like what the kind of content that was being shown on TV and thought, I think I can do a better job. Like I think I can really get a message through to kids through television. Like this is a really powerful tool that's being used in the wrong way. And then he did it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. I'd like to watch it. I'm
It's-
curious about, like, does it really get into, like,
The production
process?
and every the
Yeah.
process, his
Okay, that's
production
cool.
and everything that he put into the show.
They just
and-
show him like I know I watched a video of him like in court about like children's television and how he like
Oh
was
yeah,
doing
he
it.
fucking. There was like a congressional hearing where
Yeah.
they were going to pull the funding for PBS, which was his.
As a network he was on.
Yeah, that was the network he was on. So that meant that the show was going to be no more, and they had pretty much reached a verdict in Congress. And Mr. Rogers was like, "I want to say something," and he went up and he swayed them with one. Like he sang a song lyric to them from the show, and the dude that was in charge of the hearing was like, "All right,
shit, you're right.
I love it."
Damn.
Damn. Okay, well, all right, fine.
But he worked with a lot of like child therapists and other people involved in the development of
In a way, wouldn't you like classify Mr. Rogers as a child therapist himself, even though he's not
yeah,
licensed?
No, yeah, I would.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, like, he's not licensed. That's like,
Right.
But in the aspect of like entertainment purposes, as well as like an actual, like a guiding hand, Mr. Rogers did have a play in that.
But what he did have was a license to kill.
Yeah, he also had 3
with
57s.
puppets.
And guns.
Multiple ones.
Mr. Rogers, the movie. Won't you be my
corpse?
End scene. End credits.
Bitch.
Imagine Mr. Rogers saying bitch.
So, Josh, what have you been watching?
Well, I re-watched Dark Tourist. Or Dark Tourism, whatever.
I think it's Dark Tourist.
Yeah, I rewatched that one. Because I watched it, like, when it came out. And I enjoyed it. And then I rewatched it again over, the Christmas and, like, in between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And I always enjoyed it because I do like the actual aspects of, like, what different country has. And to me, I always like anthropology kind of things. And that kind of is talked about in it a little bit, especially when the, like, host goes to Indonesia and he sees how they pick up, like, the caskets and rewrap the dead bodies in, like, fresh new linens and things like that and clean off the old. So it's like, I always like that anthropological, like, anthropological. There we go. Like, kind of value it brings from that. But it's also, like, I myself like dark things. Like, I like learning about, like, the Manson murders. I like learning about, like, serial killers. Because it's a perspective in which you don't get as just a normal average day person. And when someone has a different viewpoint than yours that not a lot of people have, you're interested in that. That's why I think a lot of people are interested in, like, Ted Bundy. Mm-hmm. Something. So it caught my eye, and I always enjoyed listening to it and watching it. And I always recommend it to people, whoever, they need a series to watch on Netflix.
I really liked. I liked that the host was so involved.
Yeah.
There's the episode where he goes and visits the Pablo Escobar guy.
Yeah, in Colombia.
Yeah, the guy who was like
his bodyguard.
Escobar's bodyguard or whatever,
Yeah.
and he was kind of like, so you like killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? And the dude's like, yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. There's that, and then like I liked the vampires episode.
That was interesting because New Orleans always has a little bit of that to it. Always
weird voodoo type shit.
They're voodoo, they're vampiric. There's always some dark stuff in New Orleans, always.
Not to backtrack too much,
but Mr. Rogers was
Mr.
Speaking
Rogers
of dark stuff and the Mr. Rogers thing, that was something that really kind of blew me away. Is whenever a national tragedy or something would happen, he always that was always the purpose of the show. Like I said, is to really give a message to children and help them understand things that are hard in the world. Like he did episodes on parents separating, divorce, abuse, death, all that kind of stuff. That's very hard for children to understand, but he did it in a way that they could.
Yeah.
Which is a huge undertaking. Like, I would not ever want to do that.
Yeah.
And he's doing it on a national platform. But there were 2 in particular episodes that he did where he said he just felt like it was like he had to do this. Was when the Challenger exploded.
That'd be a tough one. That's a really tough one to follow.
He addressed the children of the nation to explain
what
happened.
Yeah, you can't.
And 9/11.
Oof.
He was still going in 9/11.
Yeah, no, the dude had the run was insane. He was doing this for decades.
He got a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2004, and then the kid that was in a wheelchair on his show gave him the award.
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
Yeah,
but
they have that in there in the documentary.
Yeah, that's a really when I watched that, it was really like a touching moment actually.
But anyway, Dark
Tourist. Yeah, if anyone likes that like anthropology aspect as well as like a nice like viewpoint of like other environments that are more dark, that's a definite show to watch.
Yeah, like I said, I think the host is good. That's really the central thing.
He's really involved, yeah.
Also, the movie The Host.
Directed by Bong Joon-ho.
Jarman.
Huh. Director of 2019's Parasite.
Yeah.
Segue.
We'll get to it. Smooth
Just
by
like
Rob Thomas.
Yep. Pete Santana.
I've been watching a show on the Netflix channel called You. This is a very popular show right now. It's just called You. You've heard of this, right? It is some trash, but it is fun to watch. It is like classic Netflix stuff in that it is.
Heard it is very toxic.
I wouldn't say it's toxic. I think it's
Meant by Britney Spears.
Yeah, because they use that song in every episode.
Yeah.
But
can't sing it.
No, the joke I made on Twitter was like, the writer's room is just, what if Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver had an iPhone? Because that's what this movie, that's what the show is. It's like he's a stalker. It's about a stalker.
Okay.
But he's really charming. He's got like Sherlock Holmes kind of level analysis. Like he can like look at people and kind of identify like what their patterns are and stuff about them. But he does it all through social media essentially. So he's like this stalker, and he can like it sounds really fucking lame, but like I said, it is fun to watch. Basically, I don't want to give everything away, but the first scene is like he works at a bookstore, and this girl walks in, and they kind of have this, missed connection opportunity. This, what is it called on Craigslist? It's like misconnection. Misconnection.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and he just seems like this regular dude. And then like she walks out of the store, and he immediately is like, gets on social media, finds her profile, learns everything about her, and starts stalking her. And but he's also really charming, so he's able to like kind of like get into her life, like by just like popping up like, oh, it's crazy meeting you here.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, shit like that. And it's it's like, I don't know. So if by toxic you mean like it's making this guy who has awful actions look cool, then I think you'd have to be an idiot to not notice that this is clearly a satire, and you're not supposed to actually like this guy.
Okay, well, we had this discussion earlier about how audiences are mostly dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think there's a difference between a show that is like pretty obviously not condoning the actions of this guy and somebody who like is saying, well, you just don't get my comedy because I'm being so you can't tell me what I'm thinking. Like, I think there's a difference. I mean, this show is pretty obviously, he is a villain. I mean, he's an anti-hero. I think Taxi Driver is a movie that could be misunderstood pretty easily, but
yeah.
I don't think this show could be
misconstrued.
Yeah, because he's clearly a bad guy, and if you actually identify with his motives and feelings, then yeah, you have some serious issues. But anyway, like I said, it's garbage, but it's I've been watching it, and I'm like quite into it.
Is the writing itself bad?
No, the writing isn't like bad. It's just like the show is like,
is it like laughable?
It's just I don't know. It's like this guy.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Just a hangout.
No,
like,
I don't know.
It's
It's just like a show. A show that's based on like figuring out Instagram patterns and stuff, and like faking pretend people, and like all the plot devices involve phones and people's like.
Netflix knows a thing about phones.
Yeah, they do.
What's your IP address?
1.
Oh. Good.
And so
I'm in.
I'm in. There is a lot of sex in the show. There is a lot. And like it's kind of like, man, I don't think everybody's having sex in this show. Like, what is this? How real life is? Is this what everybody's life's like? Jesus.
If you live in New York, but
which is where it takes place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And the only reason I even like began to watch this was because Chris D'Elia is like a featured character in the second season, and I was like, that seems kind of funny because it's like a dramatic role. and I was like, I guess I'll give it a shot.
Remember he played the pedophile in Workaholics.
I don't think I remember that.
Have you ever seen that episode?
Oh no, I've seen it because I watched the whole Workaholics, but I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, there's an episode where he plays a pedophile, and they like call him out on being a pedophile, and he's like, "What?"
That's not far from his character in You. So, but whatever. I mean, if you need something to watch at some point, a TV show or something.
I have a lot on my fucking plate right now.
I can't exactly recommend.
I'm dealing with a lot. But Golden Globes.
Yes.
Is the next thing I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, so
I did not see them. I saw that Joaquin won for the Joker for Best Dramatic Role.
Yes, he did.
Or role.
Easy segue that could have been made, but I'm going to make it now. Tom Hanks was honored with the Cecil B. DeMille Award for sort of a Lifetime Achievement Award for the Golden Globes. And that was probably one of the best parts of the show. He got that, and then there was the Carol Burnett Award, which was given to Ellen DeGeneres, another kind of Lifetime Achievement in Television award. And both of them were very moving tributes. Both good people, in my book. I can't say...
I disagree.
You don't like Ellen?
I don't like...
Oh, you don't like Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Fuck. You're the only one.
No,
I know, you're like one of like three
I
in
actually
existence.
love Tom and Ellen.
But yes, the Ellen one was a lot about like kind of how like, you know, she very famously came out as gay on her TV show, and then, you know, the show was canceled because they were uncomfortable with that, and then she got the Ellen show, and then it became a huge fucking enormous phenomenon. And we all know that story. But the Tom Hanks thing was really was quite moving. Charlize Theron introduced him and gave a nice sentimental speech, and then they showed, you know, the clip reel of all these clips from all of his movies. I, for one, thought they missed out on some crucial films. I don't know if you've ever seen That Thing You Do, but that's one of my favorite movies.
That thing,
Nope,
that
wrong.
thing.
Wrong.
That sounds like a bad hip hop song from the 90s.
Wrong. It's the only movie Tom Hanks ever wrote and directed. That Thing You Do.
Really?
It's amazing. You'd appreciate it. It's about like a 60s one-hit wonder band. It's kind of like the flash in the pan of being a one-hit wonder in the 60s. And virtually no clips from that in his reel. And then I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Terminal, which is a Spielberg movie that he was in. No clips from The Terminal.
Huh.
And I was like, Terminal rules, what the hell?
So there's going to be like, was it like 10 clips each of Toy Story and Sleepless in Seattle?
It was Toy Story, Sleepless in Seattle, Big.
Yeah.
Castaway.
Castaway.
Outcast with
Outcastaway.
Thomas Hanks and Three Stacks. What about Lady Killers?
No Lady Killers.
No Lady Killer. I fucking love that movie.
Catch
The
Me If
Burbs?
You Can.
Yeah, okay.
There was a real brief Burbs in there.
Yeah, The Burbs is good.
Brief Money Pit. A brief Splash. No mention of that movie. Were you there when we watched that movie where he was playing D&D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of that.
None of that.
Star and roll. What the hell?
But his speech was quite moving. He began it by saying, "Look, I have a humongous cold, and I've been drinking Dayquil for like 2 days." And then at one point in his speech, he got really choked up and like took a moment away from the mic, and then he came back and he was like, "I promise this is the cold medicine. I'm not even that emotional right now." That was pretty good. So if it's on YouTube, maybe you give that a shot. But yeah, those are the two best moments because they were the most genuine. I think the Golden Globes is an awful award ceremony. It's voted upon by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, so it's critics and writers who are not from America. And I think they're skewed more towards like films that aren't so obscenely American. And I think that in general, it's a little bit out of touch. Not that people who aren't from America cannot judge American films, but like it just feels weird. 1917 took home a lot.
It didn't even come out this year.
It comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
they get screeners. They get sent DVDs. It was in select theaters last.
It was in Christmas, dude. I thought Christmas.
It's supposed to come out on Christmas, so it probably did in New York and L.A.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, it won Best Director Sam Mendes against Tarantino, Scorsese.
Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean he's a good director, but I mean I don't know. I mean, and Bong Joon-ho from Parasite, which
Yeah, I did see. I saw a screenshot of him.
they won Best Foreign Film, which
Yeah.
made a lot of sense. It's because it's the only foreign film any Americans saw. But yeah, his famous little quote, and he went up and accepted the award, and
I saw that it was if you can get over the 1-inch barrier of
subtitles,
subtitles,
you'll find
then
a lot of
you'll
great
find
films.
a lot more
Yeah.
great films. Yeah,
Which is cool. Good for him. Good dude. And yeah, so Sam Mendes won, and not that Sam Mendes isn't a great director. It's just like he was up against 3 kind of titans who made kind of career films this year. And then 1917 won Best Drama. It won. They don't do a Best Cinematography at Golden Globes.
weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
But 1917 will win Best Cinematography at the Oscars. I haven't seen it. I just know that it will. Which, shout out to Roger Deakins, because he's one of the best ever. But
Because didn't Dunkirk get Best Cinematography?
What all did sorry, you asked.
Roger Deakins, Dunkirk.
They won
No.
something. I know-
Dunkirk was last year, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 2018.
Yeah,
2018.
2018.
No, because Deakins won for Blade Runner. Because
Okay.
that was
Okay,
end of
okay.
2018.
Yeah, okay.
And that was a big deal because he had been nominated for 14 Best Cinematography Oscars. He's done
This is
pretty
like the DiCaprio of
yeah,
cinematography.
no, but like twice over. Yeah, no, he's done like all the Coen stuff. He did
Did he do Llewyn Davis?
yes.
Okay.
I think I'm almost certain. Beautiful film.
Yeah. I just watched it last night.
So why don't you
Or
talk
the
about
night
that
before.
briefly while I look up Roger Deakins'
Yeah, you
credits?
look that up. Inside Llewyn Davis. It was a really good movie. Dan had it in his top 25 for the decade, which, yeah, you know what? I agree. I'll agree with that. I'll put it up there. It's pretty good.
We're good
Have
now.
you seen Josh? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's Coen Brothers, so
Okay, it'll be good then.
yeah. Hey, you really can't
Yeah,
fuck that up. It's a 1960s folk singer, and he's just one of those dudes that's just kind of just going through it.
Okay.
Going through the
Yeah.
ringer, can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Every decision he makes is just the worst.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of his own fault. But at the end of the day, he's a really talented musician, but he just cannot.
It's like a more.
He's one of those that like he's a true artist, and he's not willing to compromise.
Okay.
And kind of like the record people are like, nobody's gonna listen to this.
Is it like a more
you know?
serious version of Dewey Cox, like with the?
More or less.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
Walk Hard is like an actual parody.
yeah,
This is
Yeah.
a very serious film.
yeah. It's
Okay, Roger Deakins didn't do Llewyn Davis.
Oscar Edgar, is that his name?
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, which is the guy that plays Poe in
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars. He plays Llewyn Davis.
Okay.
And then there's a couple other. Justin Timberlake plays another one of the folk singers in the movie. It's just him kind of crashing on couches around the circuit
Okay.
of people in New York, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he winds up trying to get a record deal, and just nothing's fucking working out, and it's really kind of fucking depressing.
Yeah, it's
but
tortured. It's a tortured movie.
it was a good movie.
But I find it to be very literary. Like there's the cat in the film, right?
Which is definitely a motif.
Yeah, and somebody pointed out, I saw this movie in theaters, and I remember reading the reviews afterwards, and somebody wrote, like, there's a moment where he's on the phone with somebody, and he says, this is Llewyn, I have the cat, and then the person on the phone doesn't hear him right, and they say, Llewyn is the cat? And then somebody pointed out, and it's like, Llewyn is the cat. The cat has no home. He's trying to find a place to go.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
escaped. And I was like,
Whoa.
whoa. Yeah, it was like
You ever
stuff-
tried DMT?
Yeah, it was like stuff like that. I mean, it's a It's a fascinating film. That and like the structure.
And I love that. Like in the very beginning, like that's one of the first things that happens is when he opens the door and the cat runs out. I was just like, motherfucker, this is gonna be. I knew right away this is gonna be a whole fucking thing.
This whole cat being out and about thing. Yeah, Deakins did 1917, Blade Runner 2, Hail Caesar, Sicario.
I was just thinking about that the other day. That's one that's on my list that I want to watch.
Prisoners, Skyfall.
Sicario.
Oh, okay.
True Grit, Serious Man.
I really like Benicio.
Assassination of
Benicio
Jesse
del
James.
Toro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men, Jarhead, Lady Killers.
So he has a
damn.
track record, a good track record.
That's just the past, 15
Good.
years.
Yeah, it's a good.
Intolerable Cruelty, Man Who Wasn't There. So yeah, Cohen stuff. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Where
Big
was the
Lebowski. Kundun.
Okay.
Can you?
Fargo, Shawshank
Okay,
Redemption.
All right.
It's just getting better. Stop.
Barton Fink.
Look, we get it. You had a great life.
He's like the best working cinematographer, and it's kind of crazy because so for like 3 years in a row, the guy who did The Revenant,
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, Gravity, and Emmanuel Lubezki won the Oscar 3 years in a row against all Roger Deakins films, and Deakins was nominated twice in the category one of those years. But yeah, he got like 14 nominations and didn't win until Blade Runner 2. Which he definitely deserved because that's a gorgeous film also. But anyway, so Golden Globes, generally disappointing. Irishman didn't win anything.
That's kind of surprising.
Fuck, he has enough awards.
That's one thing, but like, okay, so...
That's like when Beyonce won at the fucking music awards or at the fucking Grammys a couple of years ago. I was like, she beat, who did she beat? She beat,
Taylor Swift?
Not Taylor Swift.
Oh no, Taylor Swift beat Beyonce, and that's what the Kanye thing.
I think it was Kendrick. She beat whoever it was. It was somebody that was absolutely deserving, and she won. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, "You have everything.
It's probably
you have everything that a person could ever fucking want. You have just.
I'm kind of a
and you have
believer-
so many awards. You've won so many awards for. Just let somebody else have it. Like I know it's not up to her, but still, just.
I'm kind of the mindset that it's like the best thing should win the award. Like I don't like it's kind of we're at this point where like now we have to owe stuff. Like I didn't like Joker, and I didn't even necessarily think Joaquin Phoenix had like the GOAT performance or anything. I think he was the best part of the movie, but he deserved that award for other movies, and that's like the only reason I'm even slightly okay with him winning that.
But you know that Joker is the movie that most people saw.
Right, and that's kind of what sucks. It's like the award should not go to the movie that was most seen. It should go to the proper performance. So he beat Adam Driver in Marriage Story, which I would have picked Adam. I would have picked Adam Driver, Jonathan Pryce in Two Popes, Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory, and
speaking of Adam Driver, I really liked
Christian
his
Bale.
character in Llewyn Davis.
oh my god, classic. The outer space. I forget his name in that. It's like Joe Texas or something.
It was Al Cody.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to get it changed legally when he sees it on the...
Adam Driver just be showing up in good movies for
Yeah.
real. Aquafina won for Best Actress in The Farewell.
The Farewell, that's the name.
Okay.
Against Ana de Armas, Knives Out, Kate Blanchett.
I like
Where'd You
Donna.
Go?
I like Donna's performance in Knives.
Knives.
The sharper image.
That's fine. That's cool with me.
Listen to the Triplefour Pipe.
Listen.
Listen.
Taron Egerton won Best Actor for Comedy for Rocketman over Daniel Craig, Knives Out, Eddie Murphy, Dolomite, Roman Griffin Davis, Jojo Rabbit, and Leo in Once Upon a Time.
Damn.
I want to watch Jojo Rabbit though.
Yeah, same.
Laura Dern won Supporting for Marriage Story. That's cool with me. I'm down with that. Brad Pitt won Best Supporting.
That's
I think
For Hollywood?
For Hollywood, which I think is cool.
I think it's deserving.
That's cool with me. I do think Pacino was worthy of the award, but I do think, I mean, if we're going by look, you've won everything. Like, Pacino has got his Oscar, but Pitt beat Tom Hanks for Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which apparently that's a supporting role, even though he's playing Mr. Rogers. I don't know.
Who's the main character? The camera?
Well, there's I think the movie is about a guy interviewing Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
Um,
Still.
Yeah, Pacino, Anthony Hopkins, and Joe Pesci is who Brad Pitt beat. So, and Tom Hanks. So,
You beat Anthony Hopkins?
yeah,
What was Anthony Hopkins in?
he was in Two Popes. He played Pope John Paul II.
Damn, he doesn't look like the Pope at all.
He's a Pope-looking motherfucker. Yeah,
That's
Sam
what he
Mendes.
You Pope-looking motherfucker.
That's what they said. That's what they said at casting.
When you're in an alley and somebody's about to beat you up. Pope-looking piece of shit. Yeah, best director Sam Mendes over Todd Phillips for Joker, Scorsese for Irishman, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. One of those names does not belong. Tarantino best screenplay. Yeah, but I mean, so the worst part of the show though was Ricky Gervais, because he comes out and he's like, "Look, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna say some edgy, offensive stuff, and you're just gonna have to listen to it." And everybody's like, "Oh no!" And then he's like, "It's just like, fuck you. We all know your script is approved. We know that this is a production."
Yeah.
And he's like, he made like a Weinstein joke. He's made fun of like women, like forcing women directors. I mean, he made some jokes that were just like, do we need to say this? You know, but I mean, yeah, it was a lot of stuff like The Irishman is long.
He made a joke about Leonardo DiCaprio. I know that.
Oh yeah, he said by the end of The Irishman, Leonardo DiCaprio's date was too old for him.
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah,
like that. It was
it.
something about him dating underage girls. I mean, some of the jokes were like uncomfortable territory, but it's like you can never be edgy when we all know what you're gonna fucking say. If you come out and say I'm about to be edgy,
I'm gonna say
the
said-
underage joke.
He also said this was his last time hosting it, even though he hosted it before.
Yeah, he's gonna do it again
Yeah.
and say the exact same thing. Look,
gonna
I
do it
don't care
again.
anymore.
Yeah.
So fuck him. I don't care.
I don't care anymore.
Guys, there's a new addition to the Triplefour hit list. Ricky Gervais, you're on there.
Oh,
Do you not support this?
Move over, Robert.
I'm
You support? We need a quorum. Do we have Josh?
I want to. If he does something else, stupid.
I'm gonna.
I mean, I won't say no right now until he does some again, which probably would be like a tweet or something.
Yeah,
until
I'll give
that
him
point.
one more chance.
Oh my god.
One more chance.
Too lenient.
See, I wasn't leaning on Robert.
We all know the problem with Robert Eggers, and that leads me to. I'm gonna hit you with my top 15 of 2019. I'll try to be brief about it. As of recording, I'm putting up the video tomorrow, but number 15, The Art of Self-Defense with Jesse Eisenberg.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Didn't see it.
Probably he's gonna throw another list of
No,
movies
you
that
know.
you haven't seen.
You know 90% of these. 14 is Booksmart.
Nope.
No.
Thanks, guys. Number 13 is Paddleton with Ray Romano and Mark
That was a
Duplass.
fucking absolutely crushing movie.
I know, but it
It was
is
good.
good.
It's good.
I thought you said Paddington, like as in Paddington.
No,
Paddington 3.
Paddleton.
Paddington.
It's Ray Romano and Mark Duplass.
Duplass. You can. That's kind of an ASMR word.
What
Duplass.
Which also, if you haven't seen Room 104, that's pretty good. That's the Duplass brothers. It's a show on HBO.
Okay.
I'd like to watch that.
Yeah,
I'm a
alright.
big fan of the Duplasses. Number 12 is Cold Pursuit, the Liam Neeson movie. Josh saw that with me.
Yeah. I enjoyed
Didn't
that.
see it. Didn't say it.
Yeah.
Funny-
Nobody saw that. Nobody thought it was going to be a real movie.
Sounds like a real
I mean,
cold
while
pursuit.
you're watching it, did you think it was a real movie?
I was just blown away because it was marketed like, you guys seen Taken? This is
Yeah,
like
I know.
that.
Yeah, it seemed exactly like Walking In is gonna be taken for.
But it was not. It was crazy. Number 11 is Marriage Story.
Haven't seen it. It's on my list.
I did see a clip of it, and it did seem good from the clip I saw. So I'll
See, this is
look
what
forward to
sucks
it.
is because everybody's seen the clip. Like, there was the clip going around on Twitter
of Scarlett Johansson
of
and-
them like yelling at each other.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody's like, look, yelling isn't acting.
I think it was pretty good.
That's the only scene in the movie where they yell. And everybody's like, this movie fucking sucks. Haven't seen it, but it sucks. I can tell by this clip.
But I like that scene actually. That's the thing.
Well, good. Check it out.
I disagree.
Just a kind.
I disagree, Larry.
Just a contrarian.
I think that yelling is a big part of acting.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant by like
It is.
liking it.
Sometimes. I was doing the Uncut Gems bit. I disagree.
I
disagree,
okay.
Larry.
From the trailer.
I disagree.
Number 10 is Us. You saw Us.
Fucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I fucked.
Everybody kind of forgot about Us, I think.
We did. Well, I mean, because it came out so early in the year that, the list gets diluted.
I'm keeping track.
I know you have
list.
Letterboxd, Dan.
We know.
Jeez.
Come on my own podcast to get attacked.
Fucking Robert Eggers, he's moving down the list. Dan's gonna be the number one on the Triplefour hit.
Number 1, The Space, for another second straight year. Number 9, I put Endgame. Because I liked Endgame a lot.
I mean,
For my first Avengers movie, good.
Wait.
It was.
No.
This is my first Avengers movie.
You didn't watch any of the other movies?
No. Not
Please
a single
remove
one.
Can we remove...
He went and saw the movie with me.
Yeah.
Can we remove Josh from the... You gotta go.
I'm not going to watch every event the Avengers have.
You didn't miss that much.
No, you missed a lot.
I mean, story-wise...
I really don't think I did.
Story-wise, you missed some things, but I mean, as far as good movies go, you didn't miss that much.
Yeah, maybe as far as good movies go, but like that's what made Endgame so... That's why there was so much weight to it, is because of everything that's happened up to this point.
Well, that I agree with.
So, Josh, you fucked up. Anyway,
But
next
Josh
movie.
is allowed to have an opinion. Josh, what did you
he's
think
not.
of Endgame?
I mean, since I didn't watch it, I definitely missed story things. Like, there's some parts in, like, when they flash back, I'm like, so what's that? But I mean...
The only thing...
So what's that?
So what's that?
So what's that about? The only thing that I missed is I didn't watch Captain Marvel, so whenever she showed up, I was just like, what's happening?
Who's that?
Man?
What is her deal? No, I didn't watch Captain Marvel either.
And then,
That was the only part of Endgame that I was like,
somebody
what's that
also
about?
confirmed that Scarlet Witch is the most powerful superhero.
She was
Also.
dead, though.
So,
Whatever.
I guess.
As Dan takes a sip of his whiskey. Reviews.
Number 8. Look, we had to talk about this because it's going to be controversial. The fans are going to hate it. The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The fans are going to hate
It's in
me.
my
There's a
top. It's in
conflict
my.
of interest
It's in
here.
my top 5. 3,
Look,
2, 1.
the space walked so the lighthouse could run.
Oh, this is,
It's a conflict of interest here.
It is a conflict of interest.
but you liked it.
But I definitely liked the movie because it took so much from a movie I liked even more.
You liked the movie. You hate Robert Eggers.
I hate Robert Eggers.
Hate Robert.
We're never gonna let this go. Robert Eggers.
Never gonna get let go.
You're never gonna get let go.
Come on the podcast and defend yourself,
Like a man.
or else.
We'll still call you out.
The thing that sucks is he doesn't have a public Twitter account, so we can't even like tweet at him.
Dude.
Anyway,
You gotta be able to find him on some kind of social media. What about Instagram?
I haven't looked. But does Robert Eggers seem like an Instagram
A
guy
guy that
to
would
you?
check his Instagram, find him on Facebook, say, I started the social network and you stole my movie.
Mark! So yeah, The Lighthouse is number 8. Number 7 is Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a French film that I saw a few weeks ago. It's really, really good.
Blank stares from Josh and I.
It's on the server, John.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Midsommar.
Finally, we
Midsommar.
got a movie we can talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been waiting for this.
It's got flowers and dead people.
Crazy. I don't know.
I went back and listened to the A24 podcast to make sure he said Midsommar, and he definitely does. The intro, though, from A24 says, they're like, here, Ari Aster and Robert Eggers talk about Midsommar. And I'm like, wait, are we wrong? Is Midsommar the correct pronunciation? And then I went somewhere else, and I heard somebody saying Midsummer. And I was like, yeah, I watched a Stephen Colbert clip where he was interviewing Florence Pugh, and he said Midsummer, and she didn't call any attention to it, so I don't fucking know.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
It's just
Let's just keep making fun of Robert Eggers.
Midsommar
Just keep
Midsommar.
track going.
was a better film than The Lighthouse. Let it be known.
Are you on that page too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, oh man, they're kind of like,
They're brother and sister.
yeah, two different.
Ari
two
and
different
Robert
vibes,
are.
two different vibes, but
We should
two
add
great
Ari Aster to
films.
get to Robert.
That's a Joss is
Hey,
on to
hold on a
something.
minute.
Okay. Hey, Ari, big fan. Can you tell your friend Rob that he is on trial? That he's actively on trial on a podcast with 60 listens?
You fucking thief.
Number 5 is Uncut Gems.
Just,
Ungut.
I gotta go.
Uncut Germs.
Uncut Gems is your number
5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Just like
Thanks for your
just a
approval.
picture of Adam Sandler comes up on the screen. Just his face. That's depressed.
Watch for the
disagree.
YouTube version. I disagree. For people who said that Uncut Gems wasn't any good, I disagree.
I disagree.
Number 4 is The Ireland Man, the Martin Scorsese movie.
The Billie Eilish Man.
The Billie Eilishman.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, same.
I'm sorry
I
that I
know.
haven't dedicated the 3.5 hours, but
It's worth
We'll-
it, I'm
we'll
telling
get
you.
there.
You just gotta pick a day and be like, I'm gonna
I
watch
know. Yeah,
Irishman.
that's the problem. Is it's been the holidays and I've been so fucking working so much. I'm always so tired. I'm like, I'm not putting 3.5 hours in this. But it's a new year.
It's 2020.
Number 3 is Parasite.
Really want to see it. That's actually that's priority right now.
It's I may or may not have just obtained a copy.
Okay.
Just showed up, so it may be on
can't.
this. Maybe
No, you can't.
it's out on Blu-ray somewhere,
Oh,
and I, wherever it is,
Somewhere.
I got the Blu-ray. Number 2 is Her Smell, the Alex Ross Perry movie.
that sounds gross.
Yeah, I think that's the intention. Kind of.
Ew.
It's got Elizabeth
Ew.
Moss.
Elizabeth Moss, you said?
Yes, you know Elizabeth Moss.
It smells like moss.
Yeah, I was saying, just moss.
Is it her smell?
She is the titular smell. She plays the smell.
Plays as the smell.
She's credited as the smell.
Good.
Super good movie, kind of about like a aging punk rock star and like the behind the scenes of her life, and she's in this sort of downward spiral, and it's kind of cool. I don't know if you ever saw the Steve Jobs movie from a few years back, where it's like three different scenes that make up the entire movie. This is kind of similar, where it's like 5 or 6 scenes and they're all like 15-20 minutes that make up the whole story. It's really like gripping. It's cool. I really like movies about musicians and artists and stuff, and like the behind the scenes of that kind
I'm
of thing.
curious.
So, all right.
Before you go
To
to
number 1, you
Yeah.
willing to take
let's
some
get
shots?
Joss, can we hit a countdown?
From what?
You don't want to take any guesses?
10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dan's favorite movie.
Happy 2020.
Number 1 movie of 2019, Joker.
Yeah. Finally.
Yo! What? Yo! Wow! Whoa! 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 Ow!
Just kidding.
What is it?
The Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey, the new
Oh,
Harmony Korine
okay.
movie.
Interesting.
I rewatched it the other day because I was thinking, like, if I'm gonna reclaim it as the number 1 film of 2019, I have to be sure. And that was another reason I kind of delayed the video, because I wanted to make sure that it was my number 1. And I rewatched it, and wow, what a fucking weird thing. And I love it. I will love all the parts of it.
That's a pretty good list.
I have every movie that I saw from 2019 in a ranked list. So if
We don't need any more.
I got 60 something entries on here. 64. My okay.
What?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Number 64 on the list.
Oh.
Joker.
Joker.
No, it's not Joker. It Chapter 2 is my least
Oh,
liked movie of the
jeez.
whole year.
You know what's funny is I asked one of our coworkers someone you know.
Mm-hmm. What their favorite movie was.
Favorite movies were from this year, and his was It, Chapter 2.
Oh, please. Oh, no.
That's fine. He's allowed to think that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He also didn't see many movies in theaters this year, so I'm not saying that means anything, but...
Okay, just for reference here, 63 is The Dirt, the Motley Crue movie.
Ugh.
And number 62 is The Fanatic with fucking John Travolta. So
Fred Durst,
in case you're wondering how bad The Dirt and It Chapter 2 are in my mind, they're worse than The Fanatic with John Travolta.
Because
I'm glad I didn't watch it because it was on Prime.
That movie had some funny moments.
What The Fanatic was?
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not worth a watch because it is fucking something else.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Definitely worth like a viewing of some kind.
But I did my top 20 in the video, so
Okay.
for all you foreheads out there, that's check it out. I want to hear if you guys have any responses. I think Nick already talked about his favorites.
Yeah,
Unless you have any additional thoughts.
they're all on that list. Midsummer, The Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, Knives Out. Knives Out is probably my number one for the year, honestly. That I enjoyed the most. Really good theater experience, everything about it. I will be going back and watching that movie again, and I shout out to Keith Rich from Druids, great band from Iowa.
What about him?
Des Moines. He runs an Instagram page. Go follow him at Keith Watches Film. Mm-hmm. He posts screenshots from movies that he's watched, and I just saw him earlier. He posted something about Knives Out. It was a rewatch, and he said it's almost even better a second time around. It's more fun. So I will definitely be watching it again. I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie.
I can imagine there being some little things
that you didn't catch. Yeah, because there's a lot going on. Yeah, so Knives Out number 1, Lighthouse probably number 2. Midsummer, Uncut Gems are kind of...
Excuse me, did you say Midsummer?
Midsommar.
Thank you.
Mid-ASMR.
Midsommar ASMR.
And I know it's not from this year, but you turned me on to it. Good Time.
I'm sorry.
By the Safdie brothers. It's from 2017. I know it's not this year, but...
Be your best of the decade.
Definitely one of my favorites that I watched this year. Trying to think what else. The 2019 releases, there's definitely more for me to review. I definitely want to see the Parasite and the Billie Eilish Man.
Crazy as you turn into a man for that role. That's
I know.
I'm pretty sure they just sold a Billie Eilish documentary to Apple. There's gonna be an actual Billie Eilish.
Seems a little early for that.
That's like extremely early.
Well, I think it's gonna be like a Justin Bieber kind of deal where they just kind of talk about the past year, her rise to fame.
It's still bad though.
Baby.
Josh?
So number 1 for me is Midsommar ASMR.
Midsommar ASMR.
That's your number 1.
Yeah. Number 2. Then I like Cold Pursuit a lot. I think it was just one of those things where I came in just expecting Taken 4, but was completely like, oh, it's a really nice surprise.
Yeah.
And you expected Taken 4, but you were taken for a fool.
Ooh.
I was taken for a fool. Ha! Anyway.
I'd be down to watch that again because I
want to watch. Yeah.
It was a long time ago. That was the first movie I saw in theaters last year. It was probably like January or February.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't watch a ton of movies this year, so that's why my list is pretty limited to things like that. But and I guess last would, probably be Endgame. I didn't actually like Endgame, even though I didn't see every movie beforehand. But the actual structure of it made it to where it was actually still easy, at least somewhat, to follow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you say Glass? Or
Glass?
Glass was in my honorable mentions. I
fucked with Glass. I'd put Us on my list for sure. But Glass was one that if he actually had this planned out a decade ago, then I'm really impressed. But I'm not thoroughly convinced that that was the case.
I think you kind of got to look at Glass as its own thing because.
Yeah. Well, no, because.
Well, no.
No, because if you didn't watch Split, then it makes no fucking sense.
No, I'm saying like don't judge it by the sense of like, did he or did he not plan this out? I mean, because I think it would have been.
No,
I think it could have been pretty
but
easy for him to just plug the connectivity to Unbreakable at the end of Split.
Well, yeah, but it's definitely way easier to appreciate if you watch Unbreakable and Split before you watch that movie.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like Glass, I thought, like, I don't believe Shyamalan had Glass plans.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Split,
Unbreakable,
and Unbreakable are
things
antonyms
about that could happen to Glass.
Whoa! Glass antonym. Check out my band Glass Antonyms at the Sinkhole this Thursday.
Also, honorable mention is Knives Out. That's for me.
Knives Out.
That's your honorable mention?
Yeah,
Damn.
I did like it.
Stuber.
I actually really wanted to see that. I forgot that came out, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't talk about. Maddie and I did see Little Women.
How little were they?
They were.
That's a good question.
They were fairly little.
Well, okay.
That's all I gotta say. No, it was like I appreciated the filmmaking, but it was like watching an embroidered pillow. Like it was like a cinematic, the cinematic equivalent of an embroidered pillow. It was like so like quaint and jolly and happy, and I was just like, I don't relate to this. Everybody here is happy. Granted, like I think that was kind of the point, like because a big part of it was juxtaposing, like the book and how happy all the characters are with the real life of the author, whose life was not very happy.
Let's look at the list of the released movies of 2019.
Oh, here's my like ranked list.
R.I.P. the Hellboy franchise.
Also, yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna put John Wick 3 as an honorable mention, but at the same time, no, because I kind of see the series losing steam now. And plus, there's a lot of parts of John Wick 3. I'm like, this guy shouldn't be alive by this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Like, I thought John Wick 3, I was like, man, I'm just not surprised anymore. Like, the first John Wick, like, I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah. If John Wick, the first one's fantastic to me.
Because you're kind of being, like, led in on this secret, and by the third one, it's just, like, literally he turns a corner and somebody's like, hello, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck
like,
you up.
Okay, what the fuck? Everybody in the fucking world is an assassin.
Well, it's like, at the end, spoilers for people who haven't seen John Wick, he looks like he dies, but he doesn't.
It's a classic Wick
And then he
move.
falls off a fucking, 10-story building, but just is fine.
Yeah.
And then okay, this is where this, the man's not even a person anymore by this point. He's an animatronic.
It's 2020 now, and that's all in the past.
Yeah, it's last year.
It's
done.
It's in the fucking garbage.
Now we have The Grudge remake, sequel, reboot, whatever.
We're fucking psyched about it. Darkness on the Edge of Town. Getting the Netflix deal. Confirmed.
One of these days.
Confirmed.
One of these.
Confirmed.
It's confirmed going to come out one of these days. Look, it's not us. It's not our fault.
It's really not.
It's the studio.
It's
telling us to make cuts.
Netflix.
They want to tell us what
Netflix himself.
we can put in our movie.
I'll tell you what you can put in your movie.
Plug
Fucking
for the
gun.
Triplefour podcast.
2020. Expect lots of great new episodes of the Triplefour podcast. This has been episode 28. We're really moving up in the world, aren't we?
Looking forward for more stories on movie theater antics.
Yeah,
can't wait for that.
Can't wait for the next movie theater disruption.
In 2020.
I'm thinking about going to see that Kristen Stewart and TJ Miller are in a underwater base movie.
Underwater?
Underwater.
What's that movie where they're underwater? Underwater?
Oh, I think it's called Underwater.
Yeah.
I couldn't have guessed
I
that.
think that's another movie that was shelved for like 2 years. Like 'cause
It actually hands down shortest trailer award
was Underwater.
for the ones that they show on TV. It's like underwater.
Yeah, they were like, look, we're just trying to get this out of the way.
It's seriously like 3 shots, and it's like underwater.
You'll never guess where they are.
To quote Red Letter
Is it
Media,
on
endless
land?
trash.
We're in fuck you, it's January season.
Yeah, it's also true.
Because
Yeah.
so there's that 1917 something coming out at the end of this month that I'm like, okay. The new Guy Ritchie movie, the Gentleman. The Gentleman.
I did not hear about this, but I'm
No,
excited
yeah.
for it.
Matthew McConaughey.
It was like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, McConaughey,
Colin Farrell, McConaughey.
Matthew McCollin Farrell,
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
All
I'm
right.
Colin Farrell right
I'm
now.
Colin Farrell. Wait,
Dring, dring, dring. Dring, dring. Dring, dring. He's not picking out.
Hello?
Oh shit, Farrell.
Yeah, it's me, Pharrell.
What's the new song?
Sad. Right?
Yeah, it's called,
sad.
you've heard Billie Eilish, Good Guy by Billie Eilish.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
This is called, Neutral Guy.
I love everything that you do.
Is this Tyler, the Creator, calling?
It is. It's me. It's Tyler. I love you.
Okay, all I have to say to that is, I'm happy that you called.
Happy.
We're just bit going.
what a great fucking end to this podcast. It's been a wild ride. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to the subscribe to the Triplefour YouTube channel. Stream on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that. And thanks for listening, guys.
See you, triplets.
Happy.
Bye.